Good morning, friends online. I was just thinking about how in another video that I posted, I talked about magical thinking, and I realized I didn't really define what that term means, so I thought I would make a separate video doing that. So what is magical thinking? Magical thinking is holding on to notions or beliefs that suddenly something can magically radically alter um, everything in your life, or a specific scenario. It's holding on to this concept that there's this one missing magical product or time or person or scenario that will just completely change everything that you know to be real. And a lot of times that's just not how life works. I mean, I touch on this in my day after the mystical experience video. Yeah, a lot of times people who will do psychedelics will have a life altering experience, but many times, a couple weeks after that, they're kind of just back to normal. Because lasting change doesn't come from a one off generally. I guess the only exception I can think of would be something very traumatizing and then it changes you for the worse. That's the only magic button kind of scenario I can think of. But even still, that's not good change per se. But I find that good lasting change, it comes from a bunch of small actions, a bunch of small habits. At least that's how it's been in my own life. It's really hard to radically change a lot of things all at once, and it's just kind of unrealistic to expect that kind of change from any human, because humans just don't work that way. We're habitual, patterned creatures, and so the patterns that repeat become a source of comfort and stability for us as humans, just psychologically. And so it's a really dangerous trap to get caught in, waiting for something to come and fix things or change things or make them better. And I know personally that that is something that I struggled with myself. And I didn't even realize it. It wasn't conscious, because consciously I knew that that just wasn't how life worked. But subconsciously, I was still holding out. I was still in this waiting mode or waiting period, waiting for something to magically come and drastically change me. But nothing like that ever happened for me. I mean, sure, therapy was definitely a life changing experience, but my first therapy session, my first useful therapy session, I kind of just cried and had a panic attack, and I wasn't really any different after it. I just was finally in a spot where I felt like I could be emotionally vulnerable, and that did change my life, but over the course of years of attending therapy and over time becoming more and more comfortable with that vulnerability, not just with another person, but in myself. And I think learning accountability and transparency with self is not something that happens all at once either. It's something that happens slowly over time. Um, and like with other people, we kind of have to build that trust with ourselves, to create, I guess, a more meaningful relationship with ourselves. And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on that term, magical thinking. It doesn't mean that you think wizards exist or something. I wanted to clarify that in case there are people out there that are not as well versed in the psychological hot words as I am, or terms, or whatever you want to call them. I think it's more of I don't know if it's a professional psychological term, but I definitely know in therapy it's a term that is used a lot, magical thinking, and it means believing in things that are not likely to happen in reality. um, that that you can go to an ayahuasca event and suddenly you'll be a different person, full of infinite compassion and love. That's just not how things work. That's a magical thought, not rooted in reality. Um, I think something that might be easier for other people, instead of calling it magical thinking, just holding on to false beliefs, is kind of the more layman's way of explaining it. um, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, because knowledge is power, and the more we know, the more we have access to learn. because it opens up new pathways of knowledge. So here's your term today, magical thinking. It helps us to recognize that all good things take time. All good things take consistent daily effort. And that's hard. It's really hard. But it is worth it, I think. The things we do daily as our habits, whether conscious or unconscious, shape our reality in our life. What we deal with every day becomes our life, right? So if you have a really bad habit of, I don't know, sleeping in on days you don't have work or something, it could become easier for you to then sleep in on a day you do have work, right? As opposed to if you build this daily habit of, even if I don't have work, I'm gonna wake up at 7 or whatever, then you're gonna build that. That becomes your life. You become an early riser. And I think I've touched on this too. The book I've been reading, which I need to get back into reading, because I think I stopped after like chapter 9. But we have a choice every day to get 1% better or 1% worse, and it adds up and it goes exponentially. And so each choice you make, even though it doesn't seem like a lot because 1% doesn't seem like much, just remember that every little choice you make to engage in a good habit or to let go of a bad habit, like, that is you getting 1% better. And it may not be a lot right now, but it will add up, and it will grow exponentially. So yeah, I wish everyone today a day full of realistic thinking, full of thinking methods rooted in reality and proof and pattern, because those will be the things that will be more reliable for us. And of course, nothing in this world is reliable. Everything is subject to change, but this is just my little tidbit. So, hope you have a good morning. Bye.